Hello everyone. I welcome you all to today's topic decodified session in which we are going to talk about Indian Antarctic Bill 2022. We shall be covering this particular topic in the following sequence. First of all, why it is in news. Thereafter, the objectives of this particular legislation. The need for the legislation we shall be understanding. Then what are the key features and the Antarctic Treaty we shall be understanding about. Followed by the prelims and mains based practice questions for you all. Without further ado, let me take you to the topic. So why it is in news? The Lok Sabha has passed the Indian Antarctica Bill 2022 under its obligation as a signatory to the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty, what it is all about, we are going to discuss further in the topics as we have looked in the sequence. First of all, let's understand the objectives of the bill. It is basically to demilitarize Antarctica, establish it as a net zero nuclear free zone and disposal of radioactive waste and ensure that it is used for peaceful purposes only, to promote international scientific cooperation in Antarctica and to set aside disputes over territorial sovereignty. What was the need of this legislation? Actually, India is a signatory of Antarctic Treaty, and to rectify the same, it has to bring about this legislation. That is the gist of the reason. But let me take you through the information. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 and implemented in 1961, made it mandatory for the 54 signatory countries to specific laws governing territories on which their stations are located. India signed the treaty in 1983 and therefore a law was needed to preserve the pristine Antarctic environment and ocean around it. India is also a member of Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, Council of Managers of National Antarctic Program, COMNAP, Scientific Committee of Antarctica Research, SCAR. The key features of the bill are as follows. First of all, the applicability. It will apply to any person, foreigner, corporations, firms, vessels or aircraft that is part of an Indian expedition to Antarctica. Central Committee. 10 members to be nominated from various ministries plus 2 experts on the Antarctic plus the chairman, secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences will be part of Central Committee. What will Central Committee do? It will give permits, ensure compliance and review information provided by parties to the treaty. Private tours and expeditions to Antarctica would be prohibited without a permit or written authorization by a member country. Permit can be granted only after the environmental impact assessment and waste management plan have been prepared. So these are the conditions with regards to the permit, and who is going to give permit? The Central Committee. Also, prohibited activities. The bill prohibits certain activities in Antarctica which include nuclear explosion or disposal of radioactive waste, introduction of non-sterile soils, discharge of garbage, plastic or other substance into the sea which is harmful to the marine environment over there. The offences and penalties. Now suppose someone does something that has been prohibited under the bill. How that is going to be dealt with? Let's understand. Conducting a nuclear explosion in Antarctica will be punishable with the imprisonment of 20 years, which may extend to life imprisonment and a fine of at least rupees 50 crore. Drilling for mineral resources or introducing non-native animals or plants in Antarctica without a permit will be punishable with the imprisonment of up to 7 years and a fine between rupees 10 lakh and rupees 50 lakh. The central government may notify one or more sessions court to be the designated court under the bill and specify its territorial jurisdiction to try offences punishable under the bill. there has been formulated an Antarctic Fund for the welfare of Antarctic research work and the protection of the Antarctic environment. It establishes a committee on Antarctic governance and environmental protection as well. Now let's know about the Antarctic Treaty, because of which this legislation has to be brought about. So Antarctica is all of the land and ice shelves south of 60 degrees south latitude. Antarctic Treaty is the only example of a single treaty that governs a whole continent. The signatories of this particular treaty are Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, of which USSR's successor is what? Russia, right? So Russia, the UK and the US. Currently, there are 54 members including India, and the headquarters of this particular treaty is at Buenos Aires, Argentina. In this diagram, certain details with regards to Antarctic Treaty are given. You can go through them for your knowledge. And the main pointers are, first of all, no military use of the continent, freedom of scientific investigation in the continent, freedom exchange of scientific plans and data, any territorial claims put on hold, so nobody claims Antarctic or Antarctica as their own. It is going to be a nuclear free zone. Applies to land but not the seas, as in the treaty applies to the land of Antarctica, the continent, and not the sea of around it. 7th, all stations open to inspection by other nations. Number 8, national laws apply to citizens and not to the areas. Number 9, the treaty may be modified at any time, requires unanimous agreement of treaty nations. So without unanimous agreement, treaty cannot be modified. Even one nation, if it does not agree, the treaty cannot be modified. Number 10, all treaty nations to ensure no one carries out acts against the treaty and does not do any of the things that have been prohibited under the treaty. Now let's look at the India's Antarctic program. So Dakshin Gangotri is the name of the program. It was India's first scientific research based station, and now it is just a supply base because Maitri and Bharti and Sagar Nidhi have been the further developments. So Maitri is situated near Shimashar Oasis in Antarctica. So India has also built a freshwater lake around it called Lake Priyadarshini. Then there is Bharti, which is a research facility. It was created in 2012. Sagar Nidhi was there in 2008. It is first Indian vessel to navigate to Antarctica's water. So this was about all the details that you had to know as far as Antarctica's prospects related to India are concerned. Now let's look at the prelims based question. The formation of ozone hole in Antarctic region has been a cause of concern. What could be the reason for the formation of this hole? A. Presence of prominent tropospheric turbulence and inflow of chlorofluorocarbons. B. Presence of prominent polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of chlorofluorocarbons. Absence of front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of methane and chlorofluorocarbons. And D. Increased temperatures in polar region due to global warming. Your answer here is B, that is presence of prominent polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of chlorofluorocarbons is the reason of ozone hole in the Antarctic region. Now let's look at the means based practice question. Discuss the objectives of Antarctic Treaty. Is it relevant still today? Discuss. You need to answer this particular question in 250 words and send in your answers to us on WhatsApp to get it reviewed. This is it for today. I shall see you again tomorrow with another topic decodified session. Till then, take care and stay tuned.